I want you to know that the man who's with me has caused more stir, and I mean the studio's full of people. And before you see him, I want to keep him a secret for just a few more moments to tell you that he really has caused a stir here at the station, and I hope he meets the billing and the expectations we all have for, ta-dam, Harvey Korman. Harvey, welcome to Montage. I mean, no applause? I mean, there's this... Oh.
That's my family who I brought with me.
No, that's the truth.
That's my family.
This is not a shtick for you. I've never had a stir caused in this station like you have caused today.
How do you account for that, Joe?
I think it's because, well, I think it's because you're enormously talented. I think because you have come into everyone's homes and hearts, and that sounds like a terrible thing, but I think it's true in your case. You do transmit such a wonderful talent and such a sense of caring about what you do.
Thank you.
That I think people really care about you.
Thank you. I don't know how to comment on that, except I think it's absolutely true.
Well, I see what I mean. Now
Joe, I want to ask you something.
Sure.
And maybe all of your listeners know this, and I'm just going to really appear stupid, but what does montage mean?
It's a French word which means a collection of pictures.
Ah, you do know.
A series of pictures. Yeah. Yes.
I was hoping you didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you do.
I'm sorry.
That's a very good name for a show.
Thank you. Well, it served us well for 8 seasons.
8 seasons?
And speaking of seasons, why aren't you on regularly on television?
They kicked me off, Joe.
Now, come on.
No. I left the Burnett Show at the end of 10 seasons because, frankly, Mr. Fred Silverman, who went over to ABC from CBS, raided me. I raided the network. I believe it's this network. And...
well, what do you mean raided you?
Well, I think what Silverman was doing in those days was trying, not only trying to get ABC to be bigger, but he was trying to decimate the other networks. So he made very handsome offers to Red Fox, if you remember. Took him off Sanford. He took Robbie Reiner off of Archie Bunker's show. He got Cloris Leachman. He got myself, which took us away from shows and kind of was hoping that maybe, I think that was the reasoning, that would weaken those shows. So he made me a very attractive offer to have my own show, and I had wanted my own show for years. So, and I thought that the Burnett Show, having had done 10 years, and I think 10 glorious years,
no question.
As far as I'm concerned, it's been the best, the definitive variety show. And I thought, well, it's time for a move. It's time for some expansion, some growth, some risk, some change. And so I tried to do a half-hour show on ABC and went into the...
Why did it?
We were talking about that at lunch, and you know, performers can always say, well, the elements weren't right, couldn't get good writing, or the time slot was no good, or this, that, or the other. But maybe certain people are not meant to be stars of television shows. Maybe, you know, I can point to the obvious second bananas, so-called, who have left hit shows and tried to go off on their own and who failed. I think they're in the majority. Tim has had that problem, although his show last year seemed to work. He's been picked up, but in a half-hour form. Right. Art Carney and, you know, Carl Reiner and all the famous second bananas never really became stars on their own. And maybe they're not supposed to be. Maybe they don't have that ingredient that you need. And maybe, and I also think this is possibly true, I think audiences get angry when you leave a situation that they like. I think they resent your leaving, and they're not going to support you in anything else.
I was angry when you left, Carol Burnett. I thought it was a terrible mistake on your part. I wanted to call you if I had known you and say, you know, don't do it, because I thought you were absolutely brilliant. But I had high hopes for what you would subsequently do, and was terribly disappointed in what I saw you doing.
Yes. Well, so was I.
Yeah.
And there was no way that I was going to try a variety show. You know, I had just come from the best variety show. It would have been silly to do a variety show. So the only form left on television then was the half-hour sitcom, which is a trap.
Harvey, take us behind the scenes now, this industry that we read about. You leave Carol Burnett, you go to ABC, you have your own show. At what point do you know that it's not going to make it?
Well, I guess you kind of feel it when you see the script.
Really?
Oh,
that
sure.
soon, even before you start shooting?
Sure. You know from the
words.
words.
Can't you say, hey, guys, this is no good. Do something else.
I made such speeches. You know, well, first of all, it was hard to get established, experienced, really top-grade people, because we only had an order for 5 shows.
Yeah.
Now, most of the really good top people were already working, obviously, in something else. There aren't that many to begin with. And, or working in a show that had 13-week guarantee or a 26. We had a 5-week guarantee, so there was nobody available. So we had to get young people and experienced people, people that were really, frankly, second-rate. And so I would say, look, we don't have to be brilliant. I would have these meetings with the writers and say, write from your own experience. I mean, I played pretty much a guy like myself, a middle-aged actor who's not making it too well and has to teach classes in order to get some dough,
right.
and a daughter in her 20s and who's never lived with before. So I said,
Right.
we got a lot of, this is rich. So you all know what it is to be a parent. You all know what it is to be a child. You all know about the breakdown between communication between a young daughter and a father. Showbiz. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And they're writing furiously. I say, write from your experience. Right? You know, and they go, oh, yeah. So then 2 days later, a script would come in where I'm dressed up in a carrot suit. or one show I was an ant. You know, it was terrible. Well, they just didn't know what to do. They didn't have the skills.
That must be frustrating.
It was frustrating, and then you have to get through it, so you do the best you can.
Now, you told me you were from Chicago. Was your family in show business?
No.
What did your father do?
My father was a salesman, and a traveling salesman, and he was kind of that classic guy that in the Miller play.
Willie Loman?
He was Willie Loman. In fact, I just came from New Orleans, where he had lived for many years. He passed away about 1.5 years ago. And he was one of those guys who had the satchel and drove on those old country roads down south in Mississippi and opened up new territory for his company.
What did he sell?
He was with the Liquid Carbonic Corporation for 32 years, you know, liquefied oxygen and
Hydrogen peroxide.
And bottling machinery and stuff like that.
So how did you get into show business?
As a kid, I was in Chicago, and I was in the 7th grade school play. I was an eagle or something, and my 7th grade school teacher thought that was neat, and I should be an actor, and she came to my home, my apartment that my mother and I and my sister lived in, and said, he should be an actor. And my mother says, I want him to be a violinist. And so they arm wrestled, and my teacher sat on her and says, he's going to be an actor. So I went to acting school.
So you really did have a teacher who cared enough about you to go to bat for you and push you?
When I stopped to think about it, there's been teachers in my life that have really made the difference in my life. The 7th grade school teacher, the teacher at the drama school, my high school dramatic teacher was instrumental. When I got out of the service and I didn't know what to do with myself, I said, I don't know what to do. I think I want to be a journalist. So I went to the Northwestern School of, Medill School of Journalism, and I was told, this was 1950, that their Jewish quota was already filled.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you forget that the law schools and the medical schools in this country had Jewish quotas? Some still do, I think.
You're right. You're right. They did.
Yeah.
Some still do, as a matter of fact.
Yes. And so I said, oh, well, there goes that. So where do I go? I should go to the speech school. I didn't know what to do.
But you accepted that then. Today you wouldn't accept that.
I don't know what I do. I don't know what I do.
But then in 1950 you said, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly.
Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
30 years ago, there's just, oh, okay.
Yeah. Now there would be a, Supreme Court case on it,
Which
right?
there should be.
Yeah. So I went back to my high school teacher, and I said, I don't know what to do. She said, well, you should be an actor. I said, well, you think? Yes. And she got me into the Goodman Theater. And then the teachers I had at Goodman were constantly inspiring me to go on to Broadway and other stuff. And there was always teachers along the way.
Well, now, did they see you as a serious actor?
Yeah, I played Hamlet, and I did Shaw and Ibsen and Chekhov and, classics. And but I seemed to sort of lean to comedy.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Harvey.
you.
It's been a treat.
Thank you.
Harvey Korman, we really enjoyed it. Thanks very much. We'll be right back.